Even still today, it's probably been transitioning over the last 3 to 4 years and got really ramped up in the last 6 to 8 months as we expanded the sales team. But I think you kind of get in your own way when you're a founder, and the mindset between founder and scale up, I think, is completely different. So you have to kind of get out your own way. You've hired people, you've put them in the right place, you believe they're the best people, so you have to trust them to get on with their role. Yeah, Alt as Alt Agency started about 20 years ago now. I think it's about 2005 off the top of my head. Before that, I was just building websites just for myself and for some local businesses.
Welcome to FutureFuzz, the digital marketing podcast.
Welcome into FutureFuzz, the digital marketing podcast. I'm Vince Quinn, and today we're talking about growing out of responsibilities and into a thought leader. Joining us for that conversation is Craig Murphy. He is the managing director at Alt Agency. Craig, welcome to FutureFuzz.
Vince, appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so first off, just give a little background on what Alt is and kind of a summary of how much the agency has grown since you started it. Yeah,
sure, absolutely. So, Alt as Alt Agency started about 20 years ago now. I think it's about 2005 off the top of my head. Before that, I was just building websites just for myself and for some local businesses when I was very, very young. I built my first website when I was 12 or 13. And then just got into what? Yeah,
wait, you were building websites for businesses at 13?
Yes, that's right. Yes, I think I paid about £20 for my first website when I was
Congrats to you, man. That's amazing. That's incrible. Okay, love that.
Yeah, it was a very, very, very long time ago. Around about 2000, around about the time of the .com crash, if you remember that. But websites have changed a lot since then. Massively evolved, as I'm sure you're aware. And so started Alt Agency around about 2005, 2006. I was just a freelancer for a number of years, designing and building websites. It slowly got bigger and bigger. And then, to cut a long story short, pre-COVID, we were a team of 8, and currently we're a team of 17, and that includes like the heads of each department, so senior project manager, senior developer, senior designer. We've got a head of sales, head of SEO, and paid media as well, and then the mid-levels beneath them as well.
Yeah. And so with all of that, as you've grown so much, I mean, how has the role, like managing director, right? Like, let's talk about your time. How has that role changed of what you're doing day to day as it's grown?
Oh, yeah, absolutely massively. I mean, it's completely different to what it was even 5 years ago, let alone the best part of 20 years ago. I mean, back then, 20 odd years ago, I'd be doing absolutely everything myself. The prospecting, the marketing, if you can call it that, reaching out to clients, to tenders, the pitching, design, development, QA. Obviously, that's like 8 things already that I'll be doing. Yeah. Whereas now it's almost a bit alien compared to what it was back then, because now we've got the project managers in place. They tend to deal with the developers and the clients with timeframes, resourcing, and making sure everything's on track. Just the heads of each department just all report back to the project manager, make sure everything's on track, you're going to be on time, any issues, make them aware, liaise back to the clients. So it's completely different from where I was doing absolutely everything to now just overseeing and attending the important meetings, what the prospects for this week, what's the sales pipeline looking like, is there any issues with any projects, and just keeping a very top level view on it and trying to work on the top level strategy the best that I can.
Yeah. And how was it for you to make that transition? Because I think a lot of times it's hard for people to give things up, to not be as attached to the day-to-day in and out of the work, like what was that process like for you to evolve like that?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. It's very difficult. Even still today, it's probably been transitioning over the last 3 to 4 years and got really ramped up in the last 6 to 8 months as we expanded the sales team. But I think you kind of get in your own way when you're a founder, and the mindset between founder and scale up, I think, is completely different. So you have to kind of get out your own way. You've hired people, you put them in the right place, you believe they're the best people, so you have to trust them to get on with their roles.
Yeah. And I would imagine once you get to that point, though, because even for me in the smallest way, right? Like I've had points where working with a business partner, I just went on my honeymoon recently, and I went away. So thank you. So I went away for 2 weeks, and I was in Japan. So I'm on the other side of the planet. and I was able to completely shut off, and I like didn't open my laptop, wasn't looking at emails, you know what I mean? And like the relief that it was to actually have that free time and not have to think about anything because the trust was there was just like the most freeing thing that I've experienced in a long time. I gotta tell you.
I wish I could switch off like that. I'm not at that point where I can just switch off and forget everything. And I think that's just my personality, that I'm just so ingrained of living in my inbox and moving things come in, moving them straight out, that I find it very hard to switch off from emails for a few days. But I still try and take days off each month, 1 or 2 days a month, just to forget everything, 1 or 2 strategy days a month, and then meeting with the sales team and face-to-face team meetings. But not as fortunate as you being able to switch off for a week or two.
Yeah, it took me a long time to get there. I mean, I used to be on the clock all the time so I was in sports talk radio, 24 hours, 24/7 kind of business. I was doing late nights and early mornings at the same time. Like, it was crazy. So I was like super burned out. And then I got to a point where I was like, I need to not drive myself crazy. I'm gonna go bald by 35. So it was one of those things where it was nuts. But moving on a little bit, I mean, because the whole thing that I'm really getting at here is you get to this point where you've built this whole team around you, and all the responsibilities for a lot of the things day to day are taken care of, which means you've got time on your hands. So like, and with that, there's opportunity, right? And so talk a little bit about what your mindset was once you got to this point where you say, hey, I've got the team around me and things are running, agency's grown, you're adding people, and what you decide to do next.
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, it's still very, very alien to me, and it's still quite new. So I think it's about 3 months ago, we've got another fellow director, John, and I was speaking to him and just saying everything seems to be going, I don't want to jinx anything or touch wood, but everything seems to be going quite well. And I just felt a bit lost that, the team were just getting on and doing what they needed to do without my input. Things only really get escalated to me if they're very, very serious, which to be honest is very, very rare, maybe like once a year. And I just, try and guide people the best that I can. And now my day-to-day is focusing on strategy. Read a brilliant book called The 12-Week Year, which is absolutely fantastic and changed the way that I operate, because, 12-month plans, they kind of just get stuck in the Google Drive and not revisited every often.
Yep.
So now, we're planned for 3 months. I know exactly what I've got to do almost day to day for the next 3 months, what the priority targets are and how they tie in with the bigger overall picture that we want to achieve. And then, recruitment, we're still recruiting now. We're recruiting for them 2 roles right now. So lots of my time goes into strategy, recruitment, and just steering the ship, basically.
FutureFuzz is sponsored by SalesSource, B2B pipeline management and sales growth for your business.
Yeah, and while you're steering the ship, you also get to become the face of the business in a sense, right? Like having this opportunity now to say, okay, well, let me go start making some content and get the word out that way and really meet people where they're at. And so what has that experience been like to, first what drove that decision to go and start making content, and, what's the experience been like so far?
Yeah, again, I don't know if we use the word alien, but it's another thing that's a bit alien to me. I suffer with autism, which I got diagnosed with quite recently. So, the agency's always kind of been faceless, for lack of a better phrase. You never really had someone up front screaming and shouting about, the great work that we've done, the great results that we've got. So I think we only had our first photo shoot about 12 months ago. So I think there's probably only 2 or 3 photos of me that actually exist online. So it's a bit, it's a bit strange. But then I found something I wanted to talk about. I think that's a key thing. It's not to try and sell, but to talk about the things that you're passionate about. I love Formula One. Formula One is always about innovation and striving for that extra millisecond. And, business is the same. You're trying to get that extra deal or make something go that extra bit further. And autism as well. I think kind of on LinkedIn, there was a bit of a space to speak about autism and just share my experiences of running a business whilst being autistic, and the challenges and also the benefits of it as well.
Yeah, and which is such a fascinating thing. I mean, it's been, I don't know if you want to say like I don't think revolution's the right word, but there's really been a moment recently in the past couple of years where I've seen it discussed a whole lot more openly, embraced publicly, and seeing like great results from that. I mean, just here in Philadelphia, I know a lot of people. There's actually a neurodivergent roundtable that I know the people who run that table, and they have businesses that are connected to that. So like seeing that kind of thing and that kind of community that's starting to build is very real. Because obviously, I mean, look, when you're talking about the whole global scale of people, obviously everybody is different in different ways. And when you get the opportunity to just openly discuss, hey, here's this thing that I have. I mean, I had somebody on here recently that was an agency owner, and they were talking about a recent ADHD diagnosis they had. And when you think about that and the opportunity for people to relate to each other and understand and like appreciate that, yes, there are other people like me in these professional spaces doing successful things. Like I think there's just a weight lifted, and it's been really great to see, honestly, because I feel like a lot of social media just in general, and LinkedIn in particular, you see a lot more content related to that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think it's still a long way to go, especially around the education of it, because, you know, autism, as you probably know, is a spectrum. You know, not everyone's the same. You know, I've got what they used to call Asperger's, but they don't call it that anymore. So it's more like the social, the awkwardness, that type of thing. Whereas, you know, you can get severe autism, where obviously it's, you know, it almost disables people as well, which is the complete opposite end of the spectrum. But I think there's definitely more awareness around it now, and it's interesting as well, because when we're talking about it, you get so many people reach out to me privately, and even in the comments on some of the posts as well, just saying, you know, they're neurodivergent as well, can jump on a call and have a quick chat, and they're just like, you know, they think they're going mad, and they're just like, no, that's exactly how it is for me. It's exactly the same process and challenges that I've gone through myself, and then you just realise that they're not alone. You know, they're not going insane, and it's just the way your brain is wired. You know, it's just wired different to the average person on the street, I guess, is probably the way of summarising it.
Yeah. And I think part of this, because what you mentioned there is something I was getting at a little bit, is to have somebody that can talk about these things and do it in an open and honest way is going to attract that attention, because it's still not fully there where everybody's talking about it all the time, right? Like it's a limited number of people. And on some level, like, was it a hard decision for you? What was it like? You know, how did you come to this decision to talk about autism in this way? What drove you to do that?
Yeah, no, it was quite easy, really. So we've got somebody in the team who manages the social media side of thing, and then they're always trying to look for that hook, something that's really, really unique. And you know, most people with a LinkedIn post, you know, they're always trying to sell something. It's very rare that people share really personal things that, you know, have got actionable steps to them as well. So it was really quite easy talking about it. It's something that's, you know, affects my day-to-day life and my decision making, the direction of the business, the growth of the business. So it was quite straightforward to do. And then they just sat me down, did every month or every 2 months, do an interview with me, pick out the bits, and then make the posts of it from there.
Yeah. And so you've mentioned from that, then from doing this posting and getting this word out there, that you've already had people reach out a lot. So, I mean, and with that, I would figure it's personal and professional, right? Like, is it a mix of outcomes that you've seen from this work? What have the engagements led to, if you will?
Yeah, it's been a bit strange, actually, because the main people who've reached out to me have been, you know, having some form of neurodiversity, whether that's autism, ADHD, or something else, and to try and sort their websites out, because they've been trying to get it done for so long, and they can't focus on it, or they think they're going mad trying to mess up the code in the platforms and trying to understand them. So it's usually just around part personal and probably part business is probably the best way of describing it, because a lot of people just want to know, you know, how I've done what I've done, what are the daily challenges, and then does it match up with what they've got? How have I overcome it? And then lots of time after that, you know, can we help with the website? What kind of things can we help each other with, business and personal wise?
Yeah, which I love about all this stuff, because it is so natural, and in a sense, it's the kind of thing that I've preached when it comes to just general content creation anyway, right? Like, as much as you can do things where you are genuinely passionate about it, it's obvious that you do care about it, you connect with other people that share that same thing, then like the business stuff comes naturally because you have built that personal relationship. They like you, they trust you, all the things that people talk about, and like, there it is. So, I mean, on that level, I just think it's very cool that you've been able to do this, because one, one, I think it does take courage to do this. Like not a lot of people are comfortable or willing. And there might be some people listening right now that have thought the same thing. Like, I just haven't wanted to tell anybody about this. So, so props to you for that and for being able to, to be a voice and create these positive outcomes. I mean, it seems like a great place to be.
Yeah, try my best. I think it's just having people around you who can get the right words out of you and phrase it in an eloquent way that just resonates with other people out there. And we're very fortunate we've got a copywriter on the team as well, so they can take my ramblings, for lack of a better phrase, and turn it into something a bit more productive and engaging. But no, it's, I think we're not trying to sell, well, I say I'm not trying to sell anything when I'm putting these posts out there. They're just to help and just share, and just almost get it off my chest and, just try and help, if you can help one person, and that's always a positive. But that's what we're trying to do. But then, oddly leads into other things as well.
Yeah. And so before we get out of here, I do want to pick your brain very quickly on websites, just from the fact that, one, that's what you guys do. And two, your website is gorgeous. So go to the site. Like, it's just so fun and dynamic and clean. I really love the site. So let's say I'm one of those people then that you've mentioned where I am over fussing with the site into infinity. I'm just driving myself crazy with this. What are some of the things that I should be doing or thinking about if I need to get out of the rut of over analyzing the website?
Yeah, I think firstly, just get something live, measure the results. Without that, you're just guessing. Yeah, everything that we do when we redesign sites, optimize sites, work on any sort of digital marketing campaign, it's all data-led, because without the data, you're kind of guessing. I think just get that baseline. You might only be 20% of the way there, and then just analyze the data and make changes from that. I mean, I've got this great book here right next to me. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, called Ready, Fire, Aim by Michael Masterson. I think it is Michael Masterson. And it's just about, you'll never get anything perfect, right? It's a bit like the iPhone, it's never perfect when it came out. When software comes out, it's never perfect. You kind of get in the area, and then you laser down the more you figured out your direction, your selling strategy, and that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's really the way I think about it, is that ready, fire, aim. Just get something out there, get some feedback, tweak it from there. And it will never be static, it's always a moving target. So constantly evolve over time. So when you look back in 12 months, it'll be completely different. Well, it's often completely different to where it is on that present day.
Yeah, I mean, that is one of those things that I implicitly understand, but definitely have a hard time with. It's like, you just got to get it out. Like, get that baseline thing and let it go. But I'm like, no, I'm going to rewrite this, or I could rewrite that. Or maybe it's only been out the site's been live for a month. And then I'm like, oh, well, what if we added this section? And it's just like, dude, let it go. I can't tell you how difficult that has been for me at times, because I really drive myself nuts.
Yeah, just analyze the data. You'll see what's working, what's not working. If you're changing your content, adding a video, is it improving the metrics? Are they going down? And just work forward from there. It's all it's artistic on the front, but it's also led by data as well, which is probably the best way I can describe it.
Craig, this has been so much fun. I appreciate you taking the time to go through all of this. It's been a great conversation. And so for the people who want to catch up with you, learn about Alt, what's the best way to do that?
Yeah, so I've got LinkedIn. I think my username on that is Craig Murphy Alt. I think that's the website address. Based in Birmingham, so if you search for Craig Murphy Birmingham or Craig Murphy Alt Agency, it should come up. Same for Google as well, just Craig Murphy Alt Agency, and you'll be able to contact me through the website or LinkedIn.
There you go. All right, well, Craig, thanks so much for your time, and take care.
My pleasure. Thanks, Vince.
Thanks for tuning in and making the choice to listen to this podcast. If you liked what you've heard today, please don't forget to subscribe.